Hi, my name is Lucia.
And mine is Daniela. This is Ms. Long. She's our media teacher.
Long time ago, she worked with computers. What made you study computer science?
I studied computer science because this was like in the early 80s, and it was kind of a field that was opening up for women, and I thought that would be a great opportunity for me, and I really liked math and science, and I never was very good at English or spelling. So I knew that I wanted to be someplace in the technology field, and my father encouraged me also to study computer science because he was an engineer, and he thought that it would be a good opportunity for me.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
Does math involve technology in it? Does technology involve math?
Yeah, I mean, technology has really evolved so that almost everything involves technology. Even if you become a doctor, you're going to use a lot of devices that use technology, and you're going to have to be familiar with how to communicate with those devices and how to read the results from those devices. So technology has really spread in the last 30 years. We've become so reliant on technology, not just people who are in the field of computer science, but really almost every field, even this field, broadcasting. Look at all the computers that Miss Davis has to use to make this happen. And she has to become an expert on editing and using software and using all the tools that she does to have the sound and to bring it all together with the TriCaster. So yeah, I think technology is important, not just for mathematicians and scientists, but for everyone to a certain extent.
Have you used another type of language?
Programming languages? I've used a lot of different programming languages. When I was in college, I had to learn Fortran, assembly language, Pascal, something called Lisp, COBOL, APL. There are probably at least a half dozen different languages. But as far as using it as a programmer in business, when I first got out of college, I had a job for GTE, which was the phone company out in the Midwest, and I was working on Enhanced 911, where we extracted records from the database and built sort of a database in the police station. So when somebody called 911, it actually looked it up on the personal computer that was there in the police station, and then presented it for the dispatcher so she could see where the person was calling, even if they couldn't speak.
What is your favorite computer language? Which one do you prefer to use the most?
The most? I think the one I prefer the most is the one that I'm teaching now for the AP Computer Science. It's Java, and it's object-oriented programming, so it's very different than COBOL, which was a very structured programming language where you start at the beginning and you end at the end, and you had to have 80-character lines, and it was just like a lot of limitations.
How did Grace Hopper's work affect you?
How did her work affect me?
Yes.
Oh, her work affected me in a couple different ways because, you know, she was one of the people that developed the COBOL programming language, or the language that she actually developed led to COBOL. And COBOL is was very widely used in industry. So I used it when I worked for GTE, and then when I worked for some banks in Albany, New York. And then I worked in Indiana on converting COBOL systems to Java systems. And that was for Sigico, which was the electric company. Oh, wait, there's another way she affected my work. I forgot about this part. When I studied library science, I went back to school and got my master's degree. I had to write a paper one time, and I chose to write it about, guess who?
Grace Hopper.
Grace Hopper. And I did that because she is considered a librarian, even though she was very much into technology. She also helped the Library of Congress develop a computer system for cataloging their books. So all of the basic structure that underlies, like Atrium, when you look up a library book, there are all different types of records for books, and it all gets back to her because she's the one who devised the system for having let's say, they called them cards back then because they used these computer cards instead of typing it into the computer. They typed it onto these cards and then they had to read the cards. They were all 80 characters and they're called mark records. And so there's one for the author, there's one for the book, there's one for the bibliographic record and the subjects, and she mapped that all out how it would make sense.
Wow. Is it like the one that we use like today in the library?
It is. It's the one that she worked on is sort of the basis or the foundation for what Atrium is built on.
Do you still use COBOL today?
No, most people don't use COBOL today. Although I was talking to a man who was my husband's friend, and he works for a company that you might know called Build-A-Bear. Have you ever heard of Build-A-Bear?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, he's like the head programmer for them.
Wow.
He's the IT guy. And we were just talking about programming and stuff, and he said that he is still using COBOL.
What program do you use today?
Java, as you said.
Java,
right?
yeah.
Were there a lot of women in your programming?
At that time, there actually were, I would say about 30% of the people were women. There were quite a few. I think it's actually gone down since then.
Down?
Yeah. I think more women are not going into computer science, but we're trying to encourage them to, and I hope you two will consider that.
And why do you think that happened? Why do you think the percent went down instead of up?
I think one reason is, when I was little, when I was your age, like when I was back in 3rd grade, it was in the 70s, and there was a very strong movement in our country for women's rights and equal rights, and there was a lot of talk about women should try new things and go into new fields and, be trailblazers. And so I think people really kind of push themselves to try things a little bit out of their comfort zones. And maybe in our society right now, there's a little less of that. So again, I would encourage you guys to, reach for the stars.
Do you think programming a computer helps communities?
It can help communities. Like when I was working on the 911 system, when I was way back and working for GTE, that was helping those communities because before they would just, have to dial 911 and it would go to the police, but they didn't know where it came from exactly. So then we were able to show on the screen exactly where that call came from. That helped a lot of people. But just every day, I've done volunteer work for, my daughter's school, and I've helped them raise money and organize their information so that they could earn more. And that's one way, community service. Another way is just teaching kids to write apps for fun so that they have an idea of what their possibilities are so that they don't think, oh, I could never do that. Because
programming.
There's a lot you guys can do too.
Yeah, we've done
Have
it
you tried
in the media,
it?
yeah.
Good.
With like code.
Code.org.
I totally agree with you that this scientific discovery has helped keep in touch with each other communities because, well, even though they're in different places, like it has helped ours use computers and almost like everything you do on a computer, like Word and Excel and PowerPoint and different stuff.
Well, even Skyping and communicating
FaceTime.
with your family. Maybe you have family that lives far away, and now you can communicate with them in ways that we just dreamed about when I was growing up.
If girls like my age want to be a computer programmer, what do you suggest them to do?
What should they do? Well, the first thing to do is to really challenge yourself when you're in math and science especially, and to experiment and to try new things as far as programming. There's a lot of opportunities that you can come and see me about, and I can show you online or talk to Miss Wyka. We have the hackathon every year, and Miss Wyka's having the Maker Fair this year. So those are 2 opportunities to try new things. And mostly it's about problem solving. So when you see a problem, try to think about how you can break it into smaller problems and how you can solve those smaller problems to fix the big one. And just don't shy away from challenges. To believe in yourself, I would say.
Thank you, Miss Long, for your time and for letting us interview you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Daniela. Thank you, Lucia.
Thank you. Bye.